How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about CNN mocking Trump supporters live on air. Now, if you know CNN the way I know CNN, this should be of no surprise to you at all whatsoever. This is pretty much what CNN has become. This is CNN. It's a crying shame in 2020 when TMZ, the paparazzi people, they are more respected and more credible with more legitimate and accurate information than much of the mainstream media, especially CNN. But before I go any further, let's go ahead and get into the clip. In this clip, you'll see the comment in question in context. After we get done with that, I'll talk about what was said. I'll talk about the so-called panelists and Don Lemon's reaction to what was said. I'll give you my 2 cents and my analysis, and then I'll wrap it on up with a nice bow on top. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
And obviously it's false. And look, he also knows deep in his heart that Donald Trump couldn't find Ukraine on a map if you had the letter U and a picture of an actual physical crane next to it. He knows that this is, an administration defined by ignorance of the world. And so that's partly him playing to their base and playing to their audience, the credulous boomer Rube demo that backs Donald Trump, that wants to think that Donald Trump's a smart one, and y'all elitists are dumb.
You elitists with your geography and your maps and your spelling, even though
your math and your reading.
Yeah, you're reading, your geography, knowing other countries, sipping your latte.
All those lines on the map.
Only them elitists know where Ukraine is. Sorry, I apologize. But by the way,
oh my God!
But you know what? But it was Rick's fault. I blame Rick. But in all honesty,
blame
you know what
Rick.
NPR should
Why
do?
not? Sorry, hold on. Wait.
Can I tell you
give me a second. Hold on. Sorry. That was good. Sorry, Rick. That was a good one. I needed that. Okay, so listen.
Okay, so you saw that, you heard that. Now, like I said, CNN is a shell of its former self. They used to be respected. They used to have real information. They used to have serious hosts and reporters and panelists, but no more. Those days are long gone. I'm surprised that CNN is even still on television. I'm surprised you still see them in airports. Well, you know what? I'm not really surprised because there's a certain element out there that wants to indoctrinate people, okay? You got to watch this garbage to get your quote unquote news, so you will be programmed as how certain people want you to be programmed. That's pretty much the long and short of it. Let's talk about what they said about Trump supporters. You had over 60 million people that voted for Donald Trump in the 2016 election. 60 million. So how are you going to paint that many people with a broad brush? Isn't that being prejudiced? Isn't that what a CNN would be against? Isn't that what a Don Lemon would be against? You want to opine about racism and sexism, this, that, and the third, but prejudice against Trump supporters is okay. That's not really a big deal. They're not just one particular group like the guy wanted to say. Not at all, not in the least bit. We know geography, we know science, we know a lot of these things. The far leftist people, not everybody on the left, I'll make that pretty clear, because I know some sane leftists out there. Unfortunately, you don't see them on CNN too much, but different story, I digress. The point is that the far leftists think things like this. They think that Trump supporters are uneducated. We got 2 teeth in their mouth. Our mom was also our sister, that type of thing. You understand? But it's not that way. With that many Americans voting for one person, this is not just the reality. You got people that are in business, regular everyday people that have a lot of money, no money, and everywhere in between. Okay, it's a lot of closeted Trump supporters because they don't want to get the backlash on TV. Imagine being a Trump supporter on that panel and being embarrassed live on air. And what are you really going to do? Because you are in enemy territory, so to speak. They're going to control the narrative. You might try to fight back or whatever, but you're going to be ganged up on, and you don't really have much control over the whole situation. So many people decline to say that they're Trump supporters. You could have had a guy on that panel be a Trump supporter, but he would not be comfortable coming out and saying it due to the backlash he would get from not only CNN right at that moment, but also their audience of people that buy into this garbage. people that buy into it willingly, like they go to CNN hunting for this kind of content, and those that are unwillingly kind of brainwashed by this, who think they believe in what CNN says, but don't really in actuality. And like I said about CNN, they're not really a serious company. They are less credible than a TMZ. Now, some would say, hey, Bill, you just biased because they talked about Trump supporters negatively. Well, I have a lot more information that lets me know that they're not a credible organization. There was a lady on there talking about babies and abortion and whatnot, and she said something really crazy that CNN did not try to challenge. Check this out.
Let's be clear here, Rick, with all of your distortions and horrible tales. I answered it numerous times. When a woman gets pregnant, that is not a human being inside of her. It's part of her body. And this is about a woman having full agency and control of her body and making decisions about her body and what is part of her body with medical professionals.
So, I mean, how are you going to be able to come on television and say a thing like that? If you're not pregnant with a baby, then what are you pregnant with? I'm just kind of failing to see the logic here. Chris Cuomo's right there. Didn't say a word. Just let it rock. Like nothing happened. It's really strange to me. This is what I'm talking about. CNN, they'll have some really ridiculous points of view on their airwaves, and they won't say anything about it. They'll actually promote it and push it as fact. They'll mislead, misrepresent, all that stuff to advance their point of view. You wouldn't be so pro-choice, pro-abortion that you will just totally ignore false information. If a baby is not a baby in gestation, then what is it? Okay. A child can be born 5 months premature, 9 months full term. So at 7 months gestation, what is that? It's not a baby. If it can be born 2 months before as a baby, then what is it 2 months later? This is just basic logic. I'm not, cracking a Da Vinci Code. I'm not solving the theory of relativity. I'm not doing anything like that. I'm bringing really basic information that CNN does not really find any interest in. They want to just label all people that voted Trump one way. They want to totally ignore science when it's about them. They talk about climate change, skeptics, deniers, whatever they want to call us, as being anti-science when really we're pro-science. Science is a changing field. Things always change. This idea of climate change was not a thing many years ago. That does not mean that because it's a thing now that it has to be set in stone. Science is not necessarily set in stone. It's a thing that changes, okay? But some things are set in stone that kind of go beyond just ideas in science, okay? I'm here as a physical person. I don't need a book to tell me that I exist. I know I'm male. I know what my parts are. There's no book that can tell me that I don't have my own parts. I can physically see it. I can produce a baby. Like I know, like there's certain things that are just here and there's really no arguments about it. The idea of climate change can be disputed. Okay. You don't really have a lot of records from back in the day. Records go back like 100 years, but I'm getting off track and I digress. My whole point is that some things we can physically observe and prove. Okay. When a woman is pregnant, we can actually see the baby in the stomach, okay? We can see the heartbeat. We can see the fingers and toes and all that good stuff, okay? We can see the child. Just like we can see Trump supporters and we can see that they come from all different walks of life. We know that. We've seen them on television. We've seen them out there in the street. We've seen people that are smart, dumb, everywhere in between, the same as most people that vote on the left. The issue with the left is, as I close, that they allow the worst of themselves to be out in the front. That's the issue right now. I respect people on the left, but when you have CNN, MS, 13 NBC, ABC, CBS, etc., so on and so forth, have on these extreme people, extreme personalities as representation, it makes it hard for people to really take the left in general seriously. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? Do you think that what the guy said about Trump supporters is correct? If that's your viewpoint, let me know why in the comments below. Or was what he said incorrect? If that's your viewpoint, let me know why in the comments below. I'm not a prejudiced person. I'm not going to judge you on the left as far as your intelligence is concerned until you show me what you're about. if we get into a conversation, we have a back and forth or whatever, I'll judge you based upon what you told me, what you said to me. Okay, I'll judge you based on that, not just because you're on the left or because you voted for a particular person. Okay, I may not agree with who you voted for, but I'm not going to judge you as a person until I get to know you as a person. Maybe CNN and other media outlets should take that lesson, pack it on up, bow on top, bring it home, open it, give it to their kids, give it to themselves or whoever they need to give it to because they need a lesson. But whatever your comments are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.